everybody. Welcome back to Moms on a Mission. Today, we are going to have our expert metal and money connoisseur with us, Andrew Sorchini with Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Andrew has been in the business for over 30 years and opened up his own business a long time ago. And I know I've had friends come to me and say, you know, who can we trust? Who can we trust? Well, Andrew Sorchini with Beverly Hills Precious Metals, he has sold to myself, to Clay Clark for years, and he is a trustworthy, incredibly knowledgeable man. So without further ado, please welcome to Moms on a Mission, Andrew Sorchini. Hey, Andrew.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Thanks for coming back.
Lots to talk about today.
Yes, there is a lot. And Andrew and I were just talking about, you guys, about how the mainstream media does not share a lot of information. I think we all know that by now. So really take a listen today. Andrew's going to share some really important information that most people probably don't even know at this point in time, and really is going to explain how to hedge and protect yourself against extreme volatility, not just that we're currently in, but what's coming down the pike as well. So Andrew, if you could, without further ado, if you could just chat about the central bank digital currency and that whole concept. I know that people, you say CBDC and they're like, what is that? Just if you could explain what that is and kind of where we are, because it's been developing for the last few years. And if you could also explain where we are today with that in the United States.
Oh, absolutely. I'll start from the beginning. So for all these years, the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency. So, for example, in Saudi Arabia, when countries transact with oil, they do it in dollars, or the petrodollar. And this is like never really made sense, because if Iran was buying, say, oil from Saudi Arabia, they would buy it using the US dollar and instead of their own currency. So for years, these other countries have been wanting to dethrone the dollar as the world's reserve currency. And then about 10 years ago, China became eligible to be one of the world's reserve currencies, but not the world reserve currency, which has always been the dollar. So fast forward to now, they have the BRICS nations, which are Brazil, Russia, India, China. There's South America, and now Saudi Arabia and Iran. And there's actually 41 countries, last I've heard, where they're all in agreement that they want to roll out a gold-backed, programmable central bank digital currency that would replace the dollar. And then we would just do transactions using our cell phones. And this is going to be the beginning of the end for the dollar. And before I turn it back to you, I just want to say that that the different world banks out there, they're still mostly holding the US dollar as their reserves, but those reserves have gone down drastically in the last couple of months in anticipation of this event, which is supposed to be announced by Russia at a summit next week. It's August 22nd, and this will be when they announce that they're going to a central bank digital currency that's going to be backed by gold.
So I had heard that too, the 24th. And so if you could just break it down in layman's terms. So what does that mean when that's obviously going to create massive instability for us in the United States and for our dollar? But what does that look like specifically for, you know, a soccer mom or a dad going to work at his business? Like what would that look like for us?
Well, for years, United States has just been printing dollars out of thin air. And that's how we've been getting ourselves out of debt as a country, is just every time there's a crisis, we just print more dollars and we use that to get out of debt and just sort of kick the can down the road, so to speak. Well, if all the other countries are going to be returning their dollars back to us and exchanging those for central bank digital currencies, then that means that we're just going to literally have mountains of these worthless dollar bills that aren't backed by anything. And for people that are listening that might not know this, back until about 1971, the dollar actually was backed by gold. So we went off of the gold standard officially in 1971. So since that point, our dollars have been what they call a fiat currency, which is they're not really worth the paper that they're printed on. It's just an agreement among us that we can buy things with $100 worth of goods and services with a $100 bill. But if the dollar is dethroned and we go to a central bank digital currency, then we would have a world currency, and there would be no need for the dollar. So right now would be a good time for people to start to diversify and protect themselves by buying tangible assets like real estate and gold and silver.
Yeah, we just had Congressman Kevin Hern on. He's our U.S. Congressman in Oklahoma, and he's actually been talking about this as well, which he's probably one of the first politicians I've heard even reference this. So if somebody's not familiar with the acronym CBDC, if you could explain that and explain what that means.
So it's CBDC is an acronym for Central Bank Digital Currency. And the government, all of the world governments pretty much missed the boat when it came to getting involved with say, cryptocurrency and tokens like things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And as a result, they actually drove the prices down of different cryptocurrency so that the central banks could try to put something together where there would be no need for Bitcoin and Ethereum, where we would become reliant on a digital currency that they've created. So to me, when you have a stack of $100 bills hidden under your mattress, no one knows that you have it. That's how you're able to put away something privately. You've worked for it, you've paid taxes on it, you can do whatever you want with it. So when you put away $100 bills and just kind of save cash at your home, to me, that's okay. But the governments don't want you to do that. They want to know what you have and where it's at and actually control what you can do with it. So with the central bank digital currency, they can do that. So let's say, for example, you attended a Trump rally and we're on the central bank digital currency system. And let's say that the left side doesn't like that you went to a Trump rally. You could find yourself going to buy firearms or ammunition or gas at the pump and just have your ability to purchase just turned off. That's what the fear is that we will become like China, where they integrate the central bank digital currency into some sort of like social credit score where they say, oh, well, this person, they like Trump, we don't like Trump, and this person likes Trump and they drive a gas car and they're not moving to electric, so let's limit what they could do. You would have a lower social credit score, therefore you wouldn't have as much freedom as people that are kind of following the herd.
So that social credit score is,
could happen.
I was just going to say, and they're calling that an ESG. And I've seen some people have said they've actually seen it on their credit card statements. It's not very, I don't think it's completely rampant on all of them, but some people have said that they've seen that. So, they're propagating and pushing this social justice and the climate change and recycling. And of course, there's nothing wrong with recycling and things of that nature. But, if you are a Christian, the Bible says that we're to take dominion, but we don't worship the creation. We don't elevate the creation, over God and over what we've been told to take dominion of. And I mean, that's a whole nother conversation about climate change. But I just, I find it, literally completely concerning that if you don't recycle, or if you are in the wrong, like a Trump rally, or if you are at the wrong event and they don't support that your money can be shut off digitally. I mean, that in and of itself should just concern people, that they're losing the independence of how and where they spend their money, and then getting these, controlling repercussions for the choices that they make.
Absolutely. So they're creating a big problem where they make the dollar worthless, and all of the other currencies for all the other countries, they're making them worthless. And then they come in and save the day with this central bank digital currency that they make us rely on. And then they use that to see everything that you're doing with your money and potentially control it as well. So for me, I wouldn't want to have a lot of cash sitting around my home, where if the dollar is losing its buying power and losing its value, I want to trade that cash in for something. But what are you going to do? You're going to put it into the central bank digital currency as it becomes the norm, or are you going to want you want to hold private assets? So gold, for example, has been the world's currency for thousands of years. So has silver, like 5,000 years. And I can take an ounce of gold and go anywhere in the world and make a purchase with it. Maybe not if I'm just going to a local market and I want to buy a loaf of bread, but it's recognized as cash, and there would be a way for me to make purchases. And I want to be able to own assets that I can own privately while I still can. And gold and silver are the only ones that I know about where you can privately own it, and it's no one else's business that you have it or what you do with it.
I love the
And that gap is
privacy
closing.
element. Yeah. And another thing, I mean,
Mhm.
aside from the CBDC, but inflation is just skyrocketing. And I've heard others say, one piece of gold, if it, bought a whole suit, back in the day, or if you paid cash for a suit, say you paid $20 for a whole suit, a men's suit back in the day. Now, if you still had paper dollars, you would have to, pay $500 or $1,000 for a suit or what have you. The gold just maintains its value. So, I mean, at least in spite of, in addition to the CBDC and hedging against that, having the privacy, just hedging against inflation. I don't even know what inflation is now, but I know that it has just been skyrocketing.
Yeah, it's at least 20%. And what's reported is something around the 6 to 7%. But even if it was, say, only 7%, what that means for people out there is that last year, your dollar that's worth 100 pennies only has buying power today of like 93 cents. So like you've lost 7% in buying power. And that's just because everything costs more. And we've accepted that because in the wake of COVID, we understand that things have been harder to get. Prices of what it costs to manufacture things and import things have gone up. So things definitely are going to cost more. So we've actually accepted this without much of a fight. But gold can hedge inflation because when there's inflation, gold and silver go up in value.
I think that's awesome. I mean, it's a win-win, either way on all fronts, it's a win-win. So tell us how, if folks want to get started, and, I know it can be a big jump to think, or they can say, oh, we don't have any money. I don't have an extra 10 or 20,000 or even $300 to invest in gold and silver. Could you talk to us about the IRA option?
Absolutely. So people out there that are listening can roll over a 401k or an IRA into one that holds precious metals. So it's simply just called a precious metals IRA. And by converting your existing retirement account into a precious metals IRA, it is not a taxable event. So if you ask your financial advisor if it is a taxable event, they will tell you, well, if you move your funds from here, yes, it's a taxable event. But what they don't tell you is that if you put it into another retirement account within 60 days, it's called a rollover, and that is a non-taxable event. And usually these take about 7 to 14 days for us to do. One of my salespeople texted me this morning and said, I got one done pretty quick this week. It was only 6 days. And we've really got it tightened up on how quickly we can do these. And so you might have, say, a couple $100,000 in a retirement account. You can roll over whatever portion of that or even all of it into a precious metals IRA. We have people do it with 7-figure retirement accounts, and we have people do it with 4-figure retirement accounts. So when people reach out to us, we can go over the different options and the costs involved and help you determine whether or not it's worth it for you. But just to touch on the costs right now, it's about $250 a year to maintain this. That's it. Just
Wow.
$250, and it holds real gold and silver, not paper silver.
So where is the gold and silver kept? Like, how does that work exactly?
It's kept in a third-party depository, so it's not kept at our office, but we use Delaware Depository that's based out of Delaware, and it's your metals that are going to be stored there are fully insured, even against acts of God, which for people out there that have ever tried, that's very expensive insurance. So imagine if the depository was in Hawaii, where Lanai, where like 80% of it's gone. At least you would have that insurance, and it's better than nothing. But it is physical gold and silver and not paper silver. And for people out there that might be wondering what is paper silver, your financial advisors will, if you tell them that you're thinking about investing into gold and silver, they're going to tell you it's a terrible idea. And because they don't offer physical gold and silver. But what they will do for you is offer you different silver investments or gold investments. Like they have exchange traded funds, which is basically a basket of gold companies. And those are supposed to be backed by real gold. But it turns out that that for each investment into that, they're oversold something like 30 times. So what I mean by that is, let's say that you had a home that you wanted to sell. And you said, okay, for whoever the buyer is, the rule is here that you cannot move into that home. And then you proceed to go and sell that home to 30 different people and get paid by 30 different people who all own that same home. That's how paper, gold, and silver work, which sounds like a Ponzi scheme or something illegal. I know if I did something like that, it would be illegal, but somehow they're able to do it in the stock market. So the problem with that is that if everybody wants to sell their paper, gold, and silver on the exact same day, if there was some sort of a crash, then they would not be able to sell it because there's not enough to be sold based on the number of sellers that there are. So it's always better to have physical gold and silver, because if you don't hold it, you don't own it. So if you're holding it, then you're good to go.
And it sounds like it's a little bit more legit when there's enough gold and silver to go around. So when you buy it, you're actually buying it and you're not sharing it with 30 other people.
Exactly. And I don't recommend this next thing that I'm going to tell people, but just to let you know, once in a while, we'll have people that have precious metals IRAs that are stored at the third-party depository, and they'll just they'll see something on the news that scares them just about finances in general. And they'll call us up and they'll say, Andrew, have the depository send me all my gold and silver. I'm afraid the dollar is going to go kaput like today, and I want it sent right away. And we just let them know, no problem at all. It's just, if you have it sent to you, it is a taxable event. So people that generally make that request, they already know this, and they say, I don't care, just send it to me anyway. So if it's a Roth IRA, which is post-tax, then that doesn't hurt you at all. But if it's a tax-deferred IRA, then you would have to pay the tax that you didn't pay when you first paid into the IRA. But it's not a penalty or anything. It's just you're paying the tax that you always have to pay.
Yeah, you're just paying it sooner rather than later. How much metal is that if somebody had $300,000 or $500,000 in an IRA and they wanted to just have physical ownership of that? Is that a massively large amount, or is it not so much?
If it's silver, it would be a lot. We have some people that will purchase like $100,000 worth of gold. And just to give you an idea, $100,000 worth of gold is literally, if you can imagine a D-sized battery that you might put in a flashlight, two of those batteries are equal to 2 tubes or each battery is equal to 1 tube of 20 ounces of gold. So if you had, say, 40 ounces of gold, that's about 80 something thousand dollars worth of gold. And you just hold it in your hand and it's nothing. So $1 million worth of gold would fit in a box that you might get when you go buy a new pair of shoes at the shoe store. So it doesn't take up a lot of space for the gold, but for silver it does.
That's nice to know. These are questions I think an average person would be like, well, if it's backed by that, and it is mine, I certainly should have access to it. So I think that's neat that it's kind of like avoiding capital gains tax, with property, and you just roll it over from one property to another. And when you sell it, you don't have to pay taxes. I think that's brilliant. And I love that we're able to do that. So if somebody's just thinking about this and they're like, man, I just, would like to talk to somebody, have some specific questions. So if they go to bh-pm.com and they fill out their information, and then someone will contact them and they can just kind of talk with them. They don't even have to make a deal that day, right? But they could just talk and ask some questions.
Exactly. So that's what people should do, is go to bh-pm.com, and right there on the homepage, there's a form, and the form allows you to put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number, and there's a note section there. And right above the notes section, you want to say how you heard about us. So definitely put in Moms on a Mission. But for the notes section, whatever your questions are, be as detailed as you possibly can in that notes section, and I can get you to the right people. So, for example, people will say things like, I have a 401k at a company that I just retired from last year, and I want to know, can I roll this over into a precious metals IRA? If I know that that's what they're inquiring about, then I'll get you to our IRA department. if you've never invested in gold and silver before, if you like the idea of learning more about it, but you're not sure if you will do anything with it, I will get you to a group of people here at the company that can explain it in detail. And if you have 50 questions, they'll answer all 50 questions. And if you've bought gold and silver before and you're interested in making another investment within this time with us, then let us know about that. And just the most detail that you can put in there is how we can help you best.
That's awesome. And I know we've mentioned this before, and you said it doesn't happen very often, but I was sharing with some friends of mine about Beverly Hills Precious Metals and you and your great company and the trustworthiness of you and your company. And the first question they said was, well, what if someone were to change their mind? What if they wanted to sell it back? Some places don't buy it back. And I'm sure that doesn't happen very often. I know I'm not going to give you or sell you back my silver, but I was just wondering, that is a nice insurance availability for them that, hey, if they change my mind, I can, like if somebody's going to remodel their kitchen or whatever, and they wanted to have access to that, y'all buy it back, right?
Absolutely. And we do have a lot of people that do sell back. So I would rather, if I'm someone that's thinking about investing in gold and silver, I would rather get as much as I can in the beginning. And if I get into a jam or something just pops up and I need more cash, I would rather just sell back a part of it later than just get a little bit now and then find myself not getting as much as I would have liked to have gotten, and then have there be a shortage, which a couple times a year there is. So
oh, wow.
We even had last week that she's done like basically every free dollar that she had, except for her emergency fund and her checking account. She put that into gold and silver. And her mom moved in with her. Her mom's not well. And she had to outfit her home with different things to make it safer for her mom. So she had to sell back like $15,000 worth of gold. I think that's a great reason for it. And those things do come up, but that's why you have it here. It's your emergency fund. And you don't have to ask their permission for whether or not you can do this. You've got it right in front of you. You just send it back to us and we'll wire the funds right into your account.
I think that's great. And I think it's perfect to stay ahead of it. You're staying ahead of inflation. You're staying ahead of BRICS Nation and their meeting. You're staying ahead of all of that. And you can always sell it back just in case, but better to be on the safe side and be ahead of the inflation and be ahead of all this than work in the other direction. So I think that's brilliant. And then about how long does it take? I know for me, it was just, I think maybe the whole process was a couple of weeks of filling out the information, sending the check, and then waiting for all that to process. But is that about right for people who maybe if they're not rolling over their IRA, but they're actually waiting for physical gold or silver to come to their house?
Absolutely. It's typically going to be about 2 weeks max. So I'll walk you through it. So I know that you've already done it, but I'll walk everybody else out there through it. So let's say you fill out the form, okay, and we get the website submission. We call you in about 24 to 48 hours. And when we call you, if you're ready to make the investment right away, we'll definitely help you with that. So we start by sending you an invoice with bank wire instructions. At your earliest convenience, just head over to the bank, do that wire transfer. We will send you a paid invoice either that night or the next morning at the latest. And then typically we start shipping in about 48 hours after that. So some items might be shipping from a location where, like, for example, we have a General Flynn 2-ounce silver coin, and we're selling so many of those that we can't, like, we're running probably a week behind on those. So those ones take a little bit longer, but usually it's all done within about a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the wire transfer, if it's going to be a large amount or if you just want to expedite it more quickly, because I wrote a check and mailed that, so that I forgot about the wire transfer. That would definitely cut out some time and make it a faster process too.
Oh, yes. And a check is perfectly fine. So it is important, though, that people do something soon, because if we start to see gold and silver hit all-time highs, which gold could hit an all-time high relatively easy. If we see more bank failures, that will likely happen. And then everybody will be reaching out trying to get gold. And then there will be a shortage. It will cost you more. It will take you longer to get it. And the worst part about when there is a shortage or when there's a big event that's when all the scams start coming out of the woodwork. So you want to be careful who you deal with, and try to do business with people that are vouched for by people that you believe in, like Moms on a Mission. And for us, it helps that General Flynn is our company spokesperson, and he used to be the national security advisor for Donald Trump. So you figure if we checked out with him, we must be okay. We work with about more than a dozen other advertising partners, and really the only complaints we've ever gotten is that when it gets super busy, that it could take 3 or 4 days for us to call you. And if that's the only complaint, I can live with that.
Yeah, that's pretty darn good, right? Well, if the general says it's good, then it's good. So we can take his word for it for sure. We can take it to the bank. So anyway, well, I like Andrew said, I just can't reiterate more than he already has explained, that the urgency that we have to at least do something. And I think that's the beauty of it. You don't have to jump all in at one time. You can call, get your feet wet, get some information, and then just do a smaller exchange and see how that goes. And then as you feel more comfortable, you could roll over some of your IRA and then roll over more of it next month or in 6 months. But we really should be all doing at least something now, just something to hedge against inflation. And then also with the BRICS nation thing coming up, I think that's really important too. So the website is bh-pm.com. That's bh-pm.com, and fill out your information. And in the notes say that Moms on a Mission sent you, and do it today. And at the very least, just email them and talk to them and get some more information today. And then also, we would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments about our show, email us as always at moms@momsonamission.net. That's moms@momsonamission.net. Our website also is momsonamission.net, and there you can see our mission and more information about us there. And then we would love for you to follow us on your favorite platform, whether it's Rumble, Apple, maybe not YouTube, because we have 2 strikes on YouTube. So we're kind of close to getting struck out there, but Rumble's our favorite. So if you'll go there and follow us, then you'll be notified when new releases are out or new episodes are released. And we just thank you for listening today. And don't forget bh-pm.com and put in the notes that you heard about it from Moms on a Mission. Thanks for listening and have a great day.
Moms on a Mission is excited to partner with our friends at MyPillow. According to sleep experts and sleephealth.org, over 50 million Americans struggle to get a good night's rest. That's where MyPillow comes in. They make the best pillows, sheets, mattresses, and mattress toppers. Several years ago, I was having trouble falling and staying asleep due to neck and shoulder pain. Luckily, I heard an ad about MyPillow and decided to give it a try. After 3 or 4 days, I really began to feel the difference. I was sleeping better and my neck and shoulders felt so much better. MyPillow really does help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. Moms on a Mission wants you to get a great night's rest too. Go to mypillow.com right now and use the promo code MISSION for up to 66% off your purchase. MyPillow products are made in America and have a 60-day money-back guarantee and lifetime warranty. Remember, go to mypillow.com, put in the special code MISSION for your special Moms on a Mission discount. Thank you and God bless.
Hey guys, it's Moms on a Mission here. Are you worried about your financial stability and protecting the money for which you work so hard? The problem is stock market volatility and inflation. You may be wondering what you can do to preserve your family's wealth. We at Moms on a Mission encourage you to reach out to our friend Andrew Sorchini with Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Andrew is the expert in educating you to help you find the right balance of gold and silver for your family portfolio. He made it so easy for me to add precious metals to my financial investments. I simply mailed a check to Beverly Hills Precious Metals and my silver showed up on my doorstep a few days later. It was so easy. Go to bh-pm.com to save a little money and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you. That's bh-pm.com. Don't wait. Protect your wealth today by going to bh-pm.com and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you.